Okay, guys, this lesson is on graphing quadratic equations. Let's go ahead and get started so that we have enough time. What does the parent quadratic function look like? It'll always look like y equals x squared. We've seen something similar to this before. There are different parts of the quadratic function. We have the parabola, which is the function itself. It is the U shape. That's what the graph looks like. We have the axis of symmetry, which is the line that separates the parabola into two symmetric parts. And then we also have the vertex, which is the lowest, sometimes, or it'll even be the highest if it's upside down, highest point on the parabola. Okay, so let's see. If we have the parent quadratic function is y equals x squared, we're going to fill in some numbers for our x. Let's say -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So -3 goes in for x. -3 squared is 9. -2 squared is 4. -1 squared is 1. 0 squared is 0. 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. And 3 squared is 9. This is how we get our ordered pairs to plot on our graph. Okay, so let's start at, we have -3, 9. 5. -2, 4. -1, 1. 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4, and 3, 9. Okay, there is our parabola. There's that U shape. Here is our vertex. It's that lowest point on the parabola. And our axis of symmetry is actually this y-axis right now. That's what's splitting it into two even parts. Okay? All right, so let's graph the equations below, and we're going to state the domain and range. Remember, the domain are the x values, and the range are all the y values. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is set up your table. We do not have to do as many points as we did up here, but let's at least get 5. -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so we have -2 squared plus 2 is 6. -1 squared plus 2 is 3. 0 squared is 0 plus 2 is just 2. 1 squared is 1 plus 2 is 3. And 2 squared is 4 plus 2 is 6. Okay, so let's go ahead and plot that here. -2, 6, -1, 3, 0, 2, 1, 3, and 2, 6. Okay, so there's my parabola. There's my graph. All right, now the domain. Okay, so all of your x's. Okay, so everything above. Or everything is going to be considered a domain. All of your x's, you can put in any real number for x to make your quadratic function true. So we're going to say all real numbers, and then the range, okay, so the y, okay, so it cannot go below whatever 0, when x is 0, what is y? In this case, it's 2. So y is never going to be less than that 2, so y has to be greater than 2. That's our range. All right, here's your next one. Okay, I'm going to plug it into the equation. So negative 2 squared minus 2 is 2. I'm going to plug in 1, negative 1, plug in 0, plug in positive 1, and then plug in 2. Okay, and again, go ahead and graph it. Negative 2, positive 2. Go ahead and graph all of these. Okay, again, our domain is all real numbers. That's our x values. It really could be any of these, any x values. And our range is not falling below the vertex. So it cannot go below negative 2. So our range y has to be greater than negative 2. Okay, we're plugging in negative 2. Okay, so negative 2 squared is 4, and then times 1/2 is 2. 1 squared is 1, times 1/2 is 1/2. 0 squared times 1/2 is still 0. Again, 1 squared times 1/2 is 1, and 2 squared times 1/2 is 2. Okay, go ahead and graph. Negative 1, 1/2, just go kind of in between there. I know it's not exactly on a line. 0, 0. Oh, this should be 1/2, excuse me. And then 2, 2. Notice that my parabola gets wider when there's that half in front of it. Okay, it's getting a little bit wider now. Again, our domain all real numbers, and our range y is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, and the last example for this, we're just picking some x values. So I have now negative 2 squared is 4 times that negative 1. That's like a negative 1 in front of it. So times negative 1 is negative 4. 1 squared is 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. 0 squared times negative 1 is still 0. 1 squared times a negative 1 is negative 1. And then 2 squared is 4 times a negative 1 is negative 4. Graph your points. Negative 2, negative 4. All right, so notice that now my parabola is upside down, and that is because of that negative in front of that equation, okay? In front of that function. So our domain is still going to be all real numbers, okay? But our range has changed, okay? It's no longer, all of these numbers smaller than 0 are going to work, okay? So y has to be, but it's never going to work greater than. So y has to be less than, well, or equal to 0. Okay, that's all we're going to do for tonight. I'm going to do the next one in a different video. It'll be another night's homework. That's all you need to do tonight. The left-hand page is on the website. The code word for this lesson is clock. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me.